So far, I've put more than 20 hours into Grayzone Warfare's latest update, Update 0.3 Winds of War. With all that time spent in the game, I would like to give you all my initial thoughts and impressions when it comes to the update, everything good and bad, and just how big and important I think this update will be for Grayzone Warfare. From all the beautiful visual improvements and updates to the brand new focus on PvP that should make a lot of people really happy. PvP has been really leveled up in this update, and there's more of it in Grayzone than ever. Before we get into the video, I want to say massive thank you to all of my subscribers and welcome all of the brand new ones. Thanks to all of you for supporting and subscribing to the channel. All of you are truly kind souls, and I cannot thank you enough. You are getting me closer and closer to my goal of 1,000 subs. I honestly thought I would never get here, so I do feel truly blessed and appreciative of all of you. And if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I might just get to my goal. Now, let's get right into the video and talk about how I feel about Update 0.3. Starting off with all the good stuff, let's begin with the guns. The MP7, the SIG, MCX, the SVD, and the Beretta. All of these guns are 10 out of 10. I've enjoyed using all of them. They look amazing, they feel amazing to use, and they all fry. Well, except the Beretta, because it is a pistol. But the MP7 and the SIG and the SVD, absolutely fry. Really good job. I love these brand new guns. I've been using them the entire time. One of the most important things I think this update does for all the people, the anti-aliasing issues when you are using FSR or DLSS of the game just being blurry as hell and everything after a few feet ahead, impossible to see, especially AI, has been fixed. They fixed the AA issue. The game is now sharp and crisp as hell, and that makes it such a massive step up visually for the game when you can now experience all of the beautiful visuals without the blurriness. It is honestly huge and does so much for the game graphically and visually that it's night and day. It's like a completely different experience playing the game. Next is the armor and gear. The armor and gear is great too. Honestly, it's just more armor and gear and more drip to look differently in, so you know, nothing special to say about there. Also great. The vendor changes I don't really get to experience right now as everything at the vendors is unlocked for me. So when it comes to the vendor levels and what's available at what level, I have no idea. I won't be able to talk about that until I give the game a full sort of regular run and not in like this preview mode. I can tell you though, when it comes to at least early questing, they did improve and rework these quests very well. They feel way better and more fun to run right now. They have some extra visual storytelling apart from the actual quest descriptions being changed. The questing process for the starter town and the starter quest have been cut down drastically in the amount of time it takes you to do it. Another thing with questing is they added a bunch of these strike missions. These are special missions that are all around the map in different locations. For these missions, you need to have a squad and squad up to go and take them because they are difficult and more challenging missions. They are time sensitive. It seems they give you 45 minutes to complete, and they require things like clearing out an area and then finding free items like either free boxes you then need to drop off or like a list of names and IDs that you then need to drop off. And once you complete the quest, obviously you get rewarded accordingly. These are really nice, more PvE content to do with a squad and just have fun and make some money. The stash sorting system is literally 10 out of 10. The ability to order the categories in whatever order I want, so whatever I want at the top will be at the top and then go down in the order I set it, is really huge. It's a massive feature that every game with stashes and sorting should have because it just allows you to organize your stash so much better and much more in a way that suits you personally and how you want your items to be ordered. I've tried out the mortars. They are really cool. Mortars are fun to use and are honestly kind of terrifying when they come in because I've seen people die to mortars, course. Maybe not seen, but I've heard. It happens. Like, people get some crazy mortar kills, and it's actually terrifying. I got to mess about with the trackers a little bit. The trackers seem really cool. They are nice for finding your body if you die to AI, you know, somewhere in the bush. For PvP, they can lead to some really cool situations and scenarios. Like, for example, I've put a tracker on my gun, and after I died, a person grabbed my gun. I was able to then direct my teammate to that person by marking waypoints on the map, and she run him down, killed his ass, and got my staff back, which was really, really nice. And I've been on the other end of running away from somebody tracking a gun I picked up after I killed him, and having somebody on my ass trying to get out of there as fast as possible, grab a heli, fly to my fob or one of the cops, and put it away so I don't get hunted for the next 2 hours. Looting has been greatly improved. There's a bunch of new items to find, valuables that you can then sell to vendors, and there is also just way more objects to loot all around the map. Honestly, even though the improvement is tremendous and it's very noticeable, you can actually loot and look for items way more than you did before. It actually feels like worth it now, because you know you can find something, because they added like all this civilian trunks and crates and all that stuff around the entire map. But even though it's a big improvement, I still don't think it's enough. There's been locations that are really cool that I went into, and there wasn't a single lootable container in that entire place. They need to go over every single location in the game, and a location needs to have at least 2 trunks or boxes or whatever, caches, anything, you know, any of the item containers, and they need to have at least 2 to find for people to loot. So every location is worth going because you could find something useful in a container. I hate going to cool locations, exploring them, and there not being a single thing to find except a can of soda on a table. Every location needs to have something that you can loot. So I hope they keep improving, and there will come a point when there isn't a single location that doesn't have any sort of containers that you can loot and find items in. All the new locations, by the way, are awesome. They've did a great job reworking the map, reworking all the locations and updating them to look better and have a lot more detail. The new locations, like the famous strip club, places like that, they are really cool to explore. The game is way more, how to put it, explorable now, because you have all these locations in certain vicinities, and you have these things that will stand out and entice you to go explore these locations, like, you know, tall towers and stuff like that. Now, the cops themselves are a 10 out of 10 addition. Just how Madfinger wanted, they introduced a ton of PvP to the game. There is now PvP going on throughout Grey Zone Warfare's map non-stop. There isn't a second where there isn't a conflict zone somewhere on the map, or there isn't a cop being fought over or taken over by another faction. Downtimes are very, very short and very, very far in between, and I imagine when servers are populated with all the players and it's not just a content creator server, this is going to be a non-stop thing happening throughout the whole day. People just fighting and worrying over these outposts. The whole experience of taking an outpost, going in, clearing out the AI, then taking it over, and then fighting other players for them. It's honestly a really big gameplay loop that adds so much to the game when it comes to just a new activity for players to do and participate in when they want to take a break from other stuff, or when they just want to go and full dive into just PvP. Now, outposts are not only great for PvP, they are really nice because of the fact that you can now spawn in them and access your stash and vendors. This has completely obliterated my need to fly around in a helicopter. I've barely took a heli this entire time I've been playing. I went back to base probably 3 times, and that's it. That was mostly in times when I needed to go AFK for a minute to go eat or something. All other time, I have been running around from one place to another on foot, spawning at cops, using cops as my central base of operations, I guess, and just accessing everything I needed there. And it's been really awesome to get to stay in the world and actually explore it on foot and see all of these beautiful, beautiful locations and just views of the jungle and even just going through the jungle is such a beautiful experience in Grazon Warfare. So I'm a huge fan of these outposts. They're honestly a major addition that do so much for the game when it comes to changing how it feels and how it plays. Now, let's talk about the biggest topic, which is PvP. I got to try and experience a lot of PvP throughout this playtime. On the first day, the entire faction, we all grouped up together, literally every single person, and we went out to capture outposts and to go fight the other factions. So when we did get into PvP scenarios and we were in the jungle, the first issue I had was that I was just terrified to participate. I was absolutely scared of shooting anybody. So for the first half of the day, while we were doing all of that PvP, I was mostly just sitting around waiting for like half of my teammates to die before I could kind of go into a direction that didn't have so many of them around me, where I could feel confident in shooting whoever I see. Because at a certain distance, even though the armbands do help and they are a great addition, I can't see them. I just can't. I can't see the blue. I can't see the armband itself. I just can't. So I have no idea if I should shoot or not when I know I have teammates around me. And that made the experience a little bit, like I said, it just made me feel scared to participate in the PvP and shoot people. I am very proud to say I have not killed any teammates so far. Zero nada. I did put a few shots on one Peg's chest, but in the end, I didn't kill him. The enemy killed him. I just peppered him a little, you know? Then on the other side, there was the whole bush gaming aspect of the game. Because of the setting and the jungle, people hide and go into bushes, of course. And at the start, I have to say, it was a little bit frustrating to me. At one point, I spent about 40 minutes looking for a guy around one of the outposts. He would just be circling around it. And it was literally 40 minutes of looking for a needle in a haystack. But during the second half of the day, where I started running solo and going for PvP solo because I wanted to actually fight people and not feel scared to shoot the things that I see, everything kind of started clicking, and I realized that I'm just playing the game wrong. The PvP in this game is very different than the PvP I'm used to in other shooters. Because of the setting and the jungle, I started thinking about it, and I realized that the biggest issue is my gameplay style and how I approach PvP. I just wasn't playing it right. So when I got off and I thought about it, and I realized that my frustrations are kind of my fault and not the game's, because I am failing to play the game the way it's supposed to play. And then I got on the next day and I decided to, instead of trying to brute force a certain style of gameplay, I will adapt and try to master the PvP that Grazon Warfare has. It's become a completely different experience. I've been having so much fun, and I've been enjoying and loving the new sort of PvP style of fighting in a jungle, especially when it's a 1v1 where you are kind of just having to outplay one another. Everything literally clicked, and I've started to enjoy the PvP and the whole aspect of being like this hunter in a jungle so much more than I did on day one. I'm honestly starting to see the appeal of the setting and battling people inside of a jungle. The feeling and the vibe it gives you is very unique to Grazon Warfare, and as soon as I've adapted, I've got to really enjoy all of the PvP engagement I've been having. I can't wait to keep playing the game and improving and mastering this type of PvP. Saying that, there is still some problems with the whole PvP. They need to add very distinctive and unique audio cue that starts going off like 2 minutes into somebody sitting in a bush, 3 minutes to be generous. Something like that. Something like a bird flying out every minute out of that very bush, or the butterflies they have floating around that bush after somebody sits in them 3 minutes. Something obvious as shit that there is somebody camping in that bush. So going back to the whole group PvP stuff and me being terrified, I don't really know how they can improve that. The only quick band-aid fixes I can think of are things that would compromise their vision and direction of the game, and I know they don't want to do that, and they probably will never do that. But to me, the most obvious thing is turning off friendly fire, there being no friendly fire at all. The other one is name tags, which I know they also would never do to is just having name tags above every single faction member. So at least you can see where they are and you can, easily tell you're shooting at a faction member. Or another way they could improve the identification issue is by utilizing their compass more that they have like at the top of the screen. Just have players, friendlies, those blue squares you have on the map show up on the compass. That would also be a huge step towards it being easier to know where your teammates are and if you are potentially looking at and about to shoot a teammate. Otherwise, I think if they want to stick to this harsh kind of very tactical and group organized gameplay for PvP, I think it is fine and I see its potential and where it can go. But I think in order to attract from the casual pool of people, they should probably add community servers, custom servers ASAP, and add ability for admins of those servers and owners to modify them with things like that, like turning off friendly fire and adding name tags. And I think that in itself would be huge for the game and making PvP less frustrating for your average person, and by doing that attracting more people to the game and keeping more people playing the game. Last thing to touch upon is the brand new weather system and the rain, and it is amazingly beautiful, atmospheric, and immersive. It looks absolutely beautiful no matter what weather condition you're in, no matter if it's raining or storming. It's just every single thing feels so good to play in. Madfinger really did an amazing job with this system. All of the detail, like the water on your guns, the water streaks on your scopes, even the water streaking on your face if you're not wearing glasses and stuff like that. Really awesome. And of course, the entire environment being covered in rainwater is just, everything looks so good. I can't stress it enough. The puddles, it's just everything you can think of. 10 out of 10, not a single miss when it comes to the rain and the weather effects. And the same thing goes for the audio. The audio is not just limited to the rain and the weather. They've added some more audio and improved audio, added a bunch of little details like sticks breaking and crunching under your feet when you walk through bushes. The game just feels, looks visually and with audio like a massive level up. It is such a joy to play and just look at and listen to. I'm a huge fan with what they did, and I think it does so much for the feel of the game while you play. The worst thing about this update, and to me that is saying a lot, that this is like the only bad thing, is the radio operator, which in himself is really cool, giving you some really awesome and necessary info. One, he is too loud, and number two, he gives you way too much info. He needs to be made so he only gives info specifically that is necessary to you. I know it's cool and it's a cool idea to have it server-wide and everybody getting the same comms as it would be kind of, I guess, maybe in real life. It gets overwhelming when you get the same comm repeated 5 times in a row in this loud ass radio voice. And it's the same thing over and over again, and then you cannot cycle it, so you suddenly are trying to have this fight with another player and you need to use audio and the sound to its fullest max potential if you want to win the fight, because visibility is not the number one thing you can rely on in these PvP fights. And you hear his footsteps, you kind of hear him getting closer, and suddenly you get this loud ass radio comm completely deafening you and your enemy's position. And now it's just like, at least let me cycle it also. Like, let me press a button to make him shut up and cycle it and end the message. So in the middle of an important situation where audio is very crucial to me, I don't have to now wait for like 2 minutes for him to go through all of his lines. They honestly did not miss at all with this update. They hit the nail on the head with every single thing that people wanted and asked Madfinger for, from the vendors to the looting to the gameplay loops to the PvP to the questing. Everything people wanted to be improved has been improved significantly. So massive congratulations to Madfinger Games and the entire team. You guys did an amazing job with this update. It is truly a huge step up for Gray Zone Warfare. Might as well call it Gray Zone Modern Warfare 2.0 because the game is being changed so drastically into a much better and filled experience for all of the players. I'm honestly in love with what you guys did here and how well everything has been done and put together. That will be it for this video. I hope all of you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about it. If you have been watching the streamers play the preview, and if you have, how you feel about the update yourself and what you have been seeing. Consider liking the video and hitting that subscribe button. Like I said, we are on the goal to 1,000 subs and we are getting closer and closer thanks to all of you guys. So you do me a massive favor if you just subscribed. That will be it for this video. So I will see you all in the next one. Peace.
君の虜になってしまえばきっとこの夏は充実